My billionaire grandfather, wanting me to live the life of a comfortable heir, spent a fortune to find me 4 adoptive sisters to marry. But I refused this incredible offer. In my past life, to save me from loneliness, my grandfather had adopted these 4 girls from an orphanage. They cherished and spoiled me growing up, but after my grandfather passed away, everything changed. They all fell for a poor kid I had helped, Tim Ripley. Not only did they give him everything that was mine, but they also locked me in the mansion, forcing me to apologize to him. So, after being reborn, the first thing I did was agree to the marriage alliance with the Rogers family, a military dynasty. Just as I walked out of City Hall, I got a call from my grandfather. Tiv Rogers has secretly proposed to you 88 times. That boy is devoted to you. The women of the Rogers family are famously loyal. I can rest easy if you marry him. I'm old, Tony. I just want someone to be by your side. As for the company shares I gave to your 4 sisters, I've decided to take them all back. Since they won't be your wives, it's not appropriate for them to hold on to those assets. Hearing my grandfather's comforting words, I couldn't stop my eyes from tearing up. In my past life, he had told me the 4 sisters were too ambitious and not suitable wives for me. But I didn't listen. Now that I have a second chance, I will listen to every word he says and avoid the tragic fate of my previous life. I composed myself, forcing a cheerful tone. Grandpa, I'll listen to everything you say. You just focus on your health at the retirement community. I'll come visit you for the holidays. After hanging up, they went home. As I reached my bedroom door, I saw Tim Ripley occupying my king-size bed. Tim Ripley, the ungrateful charity case I had helped, the man my 4 sisters loved to the bone in my past life. Right now, the 4 women known as the 4 princesses of New York were fawning over him. The eldest, Miranda Donovan, the ice-cold CEO of the Donovan Group, was gently presenting Tim Ripley with a vintage paque fillet. The second sister, Ellie Donovan, a gentle and graceful doctor, was carefully checking his temperature with a thermometer. The third, Catherine Donovan, a seductive and famous movie star, was holding him tenderly in her arms. The fourth, Letty Donovan, a notoriously defiant race car driver, was making funny faces to cheer him up. I looked at these 4 familiar yet strange women, and the humiliating nights of my past life came flooding back. Who would have thought that the 4 women I trusted and loved the most would treat me like dirt, turning my life into a living hell? I clenched my phone, fighting back a wave of nausea, and walked in without knocking. The moment Tim Ripley saw me, he shrank back into Catherine's arms in fear. He said pitifully, Tony, I know this is your room, and it's not right for me to be here, but the sisters said this room has the best sunlight and insisted I stay. It was his classic act of playing the victim to win sympathy. In my past life, I put up with so much just to keep the sisters from disliking me. Now, I don't even want the sisters, so why would I tolerate him? Tim Ripley, I said, cutting him off with a cold laugh. If you know it's not appropriate, then get the hell out. I'm getting married soon. I can't have other people staying in my house and giving my future husband the wrong idea. The words had barely left my mouth when the 4th sister, Letty, shot me a glare. Tony Stark, do you even know how to talk? If you don't, then shut up. I think the one who should get out is you. My second sister, Ellie, also scolded me, and even the usually aloof Miranda frowned. Tony, Grandpa told you to choose one of us to marry. But we're not ready for marriage. You can't be so impulsive. Third sister Catherine helped Tim Ripley out. We're just borrowing your room for a bit. As his friend, can't you be a little more generous? If you still want us to marry you, you need to drop that rich boy attitude. With a personality like Tim's, no woman here would choose you over him. In the past, such harsh words would have sent me into a rage. But now, I just said coldly, I never said I was going to marry any of you. Letty pointed to a row of gifts on the bookshelf. Tony Stark, who are you kidding? Anything we casually gave you, you treated like a priceless treasure. You say you won't marry us. Who would believe that? I followed her finger to the nearly 7-foot-tall bookshelf. It was filled to the brim. 1,000 paper cranes my 3rd sister had casually folded, a fountain pen my eldest sister had used, a snow globe from my 2nd sister, the trophy from my 4th sister's first race. The same things I once cherish, I now lose. I walked straight to the bookshelf in front of the 3 remaining women and snatched the racing trophy. Then let me show you just how determined I am not to marry you. With those words, I smashed it against the floor. The trophy shattered into pieces. But I wasn't done. I laughed coldly and continued. The fountain pen from my eldest sister, mashed. The snow globe from my 2nd sister, mashed. The glass jar with the paper cranes from my 3rd sister, mashed. I picked up our group photo, ready to destroy it too, but my eldest sister, Miranda, grabbed my wrist. Her usually deep, cold eyes were filled with disappointment. Tommy Stark, that's enough. She took the photo from my hand. Since you can't bear to leave this room, then you can stay here. Tom will move to the first floor. I took a step back, putting some distance between us before looking up at them. My voice icy. My grandfather bought me this mansion. I said Tim Ripley has to get out. If any of you have a problem with that, you can get out with him. After speaking, I took out a wet wipe and cleaned the spot where Miranda had touched me. Her face instantly turned cold. She turned and left without another word. As Liddy walked out, she didn't forget to throw a parting shot. You even managed to piss off Miranda, who's practically a saint. You're really something. My second sister, Ellie, also gave me a cold glance, said nothing, and followed them out with her medical kit. But they didn't know it wasn't my intention to anger them. I genuinely felt sick. Just thinking about my past life made me want to vomit. After throwing up in the bathroom, I called the staff to replace everything in the room. I went to the top floor suite to rest and didn't come downstairs for the rest of the night. The next morning, I took my laptop to the rooftop garden for some fresh air. Just as I sat down, I received a call from Orly and Bespoke. Mr. Stark, the suit you commissioned is complete. I opened my email and saw the finished product. I had designed the same suit in my past life, but it ended up on Tim Ripley. Lost in thought, my fourth sister, Letty, suddenly appeared, with Ellie and Catherine trailing behind her. All three saw the suit on my laptop screen. Letty, always the most sarcastic, immediately started mocking me. So that's why you threw such a big tantrum and smashed everything. You were just playing hard to get. You even have the wedding suit design. Aren't you just waiting to marry one of us? I hadn't expected to see them. At this hour, they should have been with Tim Ripley, enjoying the sun. What bad luck. I closed my laptop and looked at the three of them, stating bluntly, you're overthinking it. You all can focus on taking care of Tim Ripley. I've already agreed to marry into the Rogers family. I won't be competing with him for you. Hearing this, my third sister Catherine's expression changed abruptly, her usual casual demeanor gone. The Rogers family is a military dynasty. They could crush 10 of the wealthiest families with one hand. Their alliances are not something to joke about. Don't talk nonsense, or Miranda will have to clean up your mess. My second sister, Ellie, who had been silent until now, pushed up her glasses and took my hand. You've made your point. Now come downstairs and apologize to Tim. We're a family. We should get along. I yanked my hand away from hers, my face pale as I backed away. I couldn't stand her touch, especially Ellie's. It was laughable. In my past life, to protect her hands for surgery, I had fresh milk flown in from New Zealand for her to soak them in. It was these same hands that took my kidney, that took my life. I can still remember the heart-wrenching pain. Believe me or not, I don't care. I left them with that, and went back to my room, not coming out again. That evening, a package arrived, delivered by a servant. Inside was an ancient silver ring with an intertwined dragon and phoenix design. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my Frank, Sev Rogers. He said the ring was a Rogers family heirloom, passed down only to the one who marries into the family. To show my sincerity, I immediately put the ring on my ring finger, took a picture, and sent it to him, asking how it looked. Just as I sent the voice message, my third sister Catherine's lazy, questioning voice came from the doorway. What looks good? Before I could turn, she wrapped her arms around my waist from behind. With a surge of strength, we both tumbled onto the nearby sofa. From above, I could see the full curve beneath the collarbone of her loose-fitting nightgown. Her breath reeked of alcohol, and her seductive, drunken eyes were red, mim. Her exquisite face held a smile, but there was no warmth in her eyes. Whose ring is this? Take it off. The ring finger is only for a wedding band. You can't wear just anything on it out of spite. Her face was cold, her eyes filled with the possessive desire I knew so well from my past life. Every time she looked at me like that, she would press me, asking, did you go see the other three? A wave of revulsion washed over me, my eyes reddened, and I raised my hand and slapped her. Catherine Donovan, did you drink your brain away? I'm Tommy Stark, not Tim Ripley, but in the next moment, Catherine pinned my hands down, leaned in, and kissed me fiercely. Suddenly a loud gasp came from the door. I looked up to see Tim Ripley, his face a mask of jealousy, and the other three sisters with murder in their eyes. I seized the opportunity to push Catherine off me. She was too flustered to care about me now, scrambling to her feet and rushing towards Tim. Tim, listen to me. Before she could finish, Tim Ripley clutched his chest and collapsed. My second sister, Ellie immediately caught him and carried him away. Catherine followed anxiously behind. I coolly sat up from the sofa. My fourth sister, Letty, stormed over, her words like a torrent. You know Tom likes Catherine, and you deliberately seduced her in front of everyone. Aren't you disgusted with yourself? Disgusted? Of course, I was disgusted with them. I suppressed my rage and stared at Miranda and Letty, who hadn't left yet. Are you both blind? Didn't you see me pushing her away? This is my room. You all barge in one by one without asking. Who's the shameless one here? Without waiting for their reaction, I shoved them out and slammed the door. I rubbed my temples, taking a moment to calm down, then took out my phone and contacted a real estate agent to list the mansion. After Steph and I get married, we'll live at the Roters estate. I'll hardly ever come back here. If the four of them want to live with Tom Ripley, they can do it somewhere else and not disgust me in my own home. For the next few days, they didn't bother me. In the past, if they gave me the cold shoulder for even a day, I would have been the one to apologize, hoping to salvage our relationship. And for that, I had to endure countless hurtful words. When you apologize, you need to have the right attitude. If you don't know what you did wrong, just give Tom everything he wants. If you keep being so arrogant, we'll never marry you. Now I just think my past self was a fool. They don't want me, but there are plenty of people who do. Just when I thought I had found some peace, my phone started buzzing incessantly with messages from Tom Ripley. So what if you're the great Tony Stark? They still revolve around me. They will always stand by my side, support me, and have my back. As long as I want them, I can take them from you at any time. Ping. Another message came through with a photo. Tom Ripley was sitting in the middle of a pile of gifts, smiling brightly. The gifts were replicas of the trophy and snow globe I had smashed. Every single one was identical. I motionlessly turned off my phone and went to submit my graduation project. I was a design major, and my final project was the very suit I had commissioned from Orleans Bespoke. A week later was the graduation ceremony for the New York Design Institute. I attended the graduation gala. As soon as I entered the ballroom, I saw Tom Ripley surrounded by the four sisters, the center of attention. Eldest sister Miranda's expression was gentle. This haute couture suit is the latest from Orleans Bespoke. It's a one of a kind piece, and it looks best on you, Tom. Second sister Ellie smiled softly. Tom, you're the most dazzling prince in the entire hall right now. Will you grant me the first dance? Third sister Catherine lightly kissed Tom's hand, a playful glint in her eye. I want to cast you as the leading man in my next film. Will you say yes? Fourth sister Letty wasn't to be outdone. Tom, I won a race yesterday. The prize was a $30 billion ruby ring. Let me put it on you myself. The four princesses, sought after by everyone in New York, top financier Miranda Donovan, world-renowned surgeon Ellie Donovan, two-time Oscar-winning actress Catherine Donovan, and world-class professional race car driver Leigh Donovan were now all trying their best to please Tom Ripley. And the one they used to dote on was now the subject of ridicule. The four princesses used to be all over Tony Stark. He even said they would all marry him. What a joke. If you ask me, Tom is the real prince. He'll definitely marry one of them in the future. Tom is generous and kind. Tony Stark is arrogant and spoiled. If I were them, even if Tom made a mistake, I'd still protect him. I ignored the jeers. For safety reasons, I had never publicly announced that I was the grandson of New York's wealthiest man. Besides Tom Ripley, everyone at school thought I was a poor student just like him. They assumed everything I had was because the four sisters favored me. In reality, they were the ones my grandfather had chosen from an orphanage. My wealthy family treated them like their own and invested resources into their success. Shouldn't they have treated me well in return? I didn't feel the need to explain now. In my past life, at this very party, they brought a new bottle of wine, but it was drugged. The five of us did unspeakable things for a whole day and night. That day marked the beginning of my suffering. This time, I planned to quietly get through the party and not touch a single thing. But Tom Ripley, having soaked up enough envious stares, suddenly walked towards me. He offered me a glass of wine, smiling. Tommy, don't listen to their nonsense. I know your sisters love you the most. Congratulations on graduating. I didn't take the glass, instead taking a step back. I don't drink. I pushed him aside and walked towards the lounge. Behind me, I heard Letty's angry voice, so ungrateful. I paid her no mind. But just a few minutes after I entered the lounge, a familiar heat suddenly surged in my lower abdomen. My heart pounded. I would remember this feeling even in death. In my past life, the sisters had subjected me to this more than once. They would drug me, and under the influence, I would lose all sense of shame. But I hadn't touched anything today, so how was I drugged? Panicked, I pulled out my phone and with trembling hands, dialed 911. Just as I finished speaking with the dispatcher, the lounge door was kicked open. I looked up, and just like in my past life, the four sisters were walking towards me. I stumbled backward in horror, my legs shaking uncontrollably. Whoever told you to come, get out. Letty strode forward, searing, didn't you text us to come here? The other three also advanced on me. I don't want you near me. I had nowhere left to run, cornered and trembling. In a daze, I felt like I was reliving my past life, when the four of them took turns with me. Under the effect of the drug, my face was flushed. The dim light cast shadows on my handsome features. I bit my lip, the corners of my eyes slightly red, giving me a strange allure. The four women's gazes darkened, none of them backing down. They closed in, surrounding me. My third sister, Catherine, crouched down, grabbing my hair and sniffing it with relish. Didn't you call us here? Now that we're here, what game are you playing? Acting like you want to resist but also welcome it. They exchanged a look, their eyes burning with intense possessiveness. The memories of my past life resurfaced, and I desperately tried to escape. But my body wouldn't obey. Why, when I was so close to escaping my fate, did this have to happen? Their fingers touched my waist. Just as I fell into complete despair, the door was thrown open. I saw the police rushing towards me. 10 feet, 5 feet, 3 feet. Faster, just a little faster. The moment a police officer helped me to my feet, I finally relaxed and passed out. I'm safe. I will never fall back into the fate of my past life. Never again. The second time I woke up, I was in the hospital. The four sisters were all there. My eldest sister, Miranda, handed me a glass of water, a rare gentleness in her expression. It's good that you're awake. Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? Have some water. I was still a bit dazed. It had been a long time since I felt Miranda's concern. The other three exchanged glances, and nodded in agreement. It didn't matter if their concern was genuine or for show, I couldn't be bothered to figure it out. I took a sip of water, and then heard Miranda say, now that you're okay, you should go to the police station, and withdraw the complaint. I know you're the most sensible one. My second sister, Ellie, quickly added, the police found an aphrodisiac scent in the lounge. Their investigation points to Tim Ripley, but he was framed. They insisted they believed he would never harm me. The other two also chimed in, trying to persuade me to let Tim go, afraid he would be harmed in any way. I gripped the glass tightly, suppressing my fury. I hadn't drunk any wine this life. Yet the aphrodisiac scent still appeared. Did that mean the wine I drank in my past life was also Tim Ripley's doing? The source of my pain in 2 lifetimes was Tim Ripley. Thinking of this, I trembled with rage. Every word seemed to be squeezed through my teeth. I will absolutely not withdraw the complaint. Seeing me like this, the 4 of them left in anger and never came to visit me in the hospital again. I spent 3 days recovering, taking care of myself, eating nothing but the standard hospital patient meals. That morning, I had just lifted a spoonful of oatmeal to my mouth when the hospital room door was pushed open. The Ripley swaggered in, a smug, triumphant grin on his face. Star. Surprised to see me. So what if you know I was the one who drugged you? With your 4 sisters protecting me, I'm completely untouchable. At first, I wasn't going to pay him any mind, but then Tim tugged at his collar. I saw it on his hand, the ancient silver ring with the intertwined dragon and phoenix design. My expression finally changed. I looked down at my own ring finger. It was bare. A surge of pure rage boiled up inside me. I shot out of bed and roared at him. Who gave you permission to wear that ring? Take it off. Not only did Tim not remove it, he held up his hand, showing it off. I just casually mentioned that I liked it, and Ellie took it right off your finger and gave it to me. I didn't have the patience to listen to him gloat. I reached out, but before my hand could even touch him, Tim dramatically threw himself to the ground. In the next second, Letty Donovan burst into the room, shoved me aside, and shielded him protectively, completely ignoring the fact that my head had just slammed against the wall. The arrogant Tim from moments before was now a trembling mess in Letty's arms. I'm sorry, Tony, he whimpered. Ellie gave me the ring. I just thought it was pretty, and wanted to wear it for a day. I didn't mean to take your things. Please don't hit me, I am scared. Letty immediately pulled the ring off Tim's finger, and threw it violently in my direction. For a stupid ring, he'd dare to lay a hand on Tom. I ignored her, quickly snatching the ring from the floor and carefully wiping the dust from its surface. Ellie, who had been standing at the doorway, lost her usual gentle smile. That ring looked so granny. Is it really that important? You're just looking for excuses to cause trouble now, not even caring about your own health. Come here, and let me put some antiseptic on that cut. I looked up and screamed at the three of them. Get out. All of you. Get out from me. My shouting sent Letty into a fury. She shot me a final, hateful glare before leading the secretly gloating Tim Ripley out of the room. Ellie no longer cared that I was still on the floor. She gave me a cold look and left. Once they were gone, I closed the door. There wasn't a trace of sadness on my face. Only people you care about can hurt you. In this new life, I couldn't wait to cut all ties with them. After another night, I was discharged from the hospital. To my surprise, as I walked down the street, people were pointing and whispering. I had a bad feeling, and immediately pulled out my phone. My name was blazing across the top of the trending topics. 90s golden boy Tony Stark plagiarizes best friend Tim Ripley's graduation project. The plagiarism scandal had erupted in my past life as well. Back then, the four sisters had locked me in the mansion and used my social media accounts to post a public apology, admitting guilt. My reputation throughout New York was in tatters. I took a deep breath and clicked on the trending topic. Just like in my previous life, my four adoptive sisters were unconditionally supporting Tim Ripley. I opened the three most viral videos. At the Donovan Group headquarters, Miranda Donovan faced the official press cameras, her voice stern. Tim Ripley is an exceptional talent that our company values highly. I believe in him. At a press conference for her new film, Catherine Donovan invited Tim Ripley onto the stage. Ellie joined him, and the two of them flanked him, holding his hands as they declared to the world, "We will always believe that Tim is a kind and innocent person." On a racetrack, Letty Donovan drove her supercar, which was now emblazoned with a new vinyl wrap, 5 bold words serving me as a glorious shield. They will always support Tim Ripley. New York's 4 princesses were all standing with Tim Ripley. Public opinion was completely one-sided. I had become a reviled rat that everyone hated. Some golden boy. He's just a fame-hungry 180. That poor student Tony Stark definitely ripped off Tim Ripley for the $5 billion prize money. No wonder the 4 princesses don't hang around Tony Stark anymore. He's all flash and no substance. Not like Tim Ripley, who's a true talent. I stared at the screen. In my past life, I was forced to admit guilt. My reputation was destroyed, and I was blacklisted by the entire design industry. I was completely broken. But reborn, I was prepared. I immediately returned to the mansion, found my original design drafts, and posted a clarification on my social media. I published the complete design portfolio, the creative concept, and a detailed explanation of every source of inspiration. At the end, I left only one short, powerful sentence. Tony Stark, have never plagiarized anything. The post instantly caused a stir. But 3 minutes later, my social media was suddenly inaccessible. The server was down. My clarification post had vanished. Then, a call came from Miranda. Tony, let the plagiarism issue go. Tom's health isn't good, and I don't want him to be upset. Her voice was light and dismissive, as if this were a trivial matter. My fingernails dug into my palm. So you were the one who had my post deleted. It was for the best. Her voice remained calm. Scrubbing the topic was also on what grounds did you scrub the topic? I cut her off, my voice shaking with rage. It was clearly Tim Ripley who plagiarized my work. Why am I the one who has to bear the consequences? You're not exactly short on money, she said coldly. The public is just looking for entertainment. Trust me, this will all blow over soon. Her shamelessness made me laugh with fury. Is this about money? A designer's career is over once they're labeled a plagiarist. How am I supposed to have a future in the industry? But she was unyielding. You're a Stark hair. Even if you never work another day in your life, you'll be set. But if Tim gets this reputation, he'll be ostracized by the industry. He's a poor student, he won't be able to survive. This matter is settled. Don't bring it up again. With that, Miranda hung up. My heart itched with anger. In 2 lifetimes, they had betrayed me without a moment's hesitation. I was utterly disappointed. Then, I suddenly remembered that after I agreed to the marriage, my grandfather had gotten my official Stark Hair social media account verified. I immediately logged into that verified, high-profile account and posted a single message. It shot straight to the top of the trending list. I, Tony Stark, am the sole heir to the Stark family, the wealthiest family in New York. I have no need to plagiarize for money. That one sentence created an earthquake. Using the Stark Hair account, I posted my original design drafts, and this time, I included the official correspondence records with Orly & Bespoke from 3 months prior. Orly & Bespoke is the most reputable couture brand in the world. They would never help someone fake a record. The topic instantly skyrocketed to number 1. Tim Ripley was crucified on a pillar of shame. Netizens flooded Tim Ripley's social media with angry comments. This is disgusting. What kind of tricks did this green tea boy use to make all 4 princesses protect him instead of the real hair? I bet Tim Ripley slept with all 4 of them. He's probably their private boy toy. Damn, if I had that kind of money, I'd want to play with a fan base too. His grandpa giving him the officially verified account was a checkmate move. No one can suppress that. Not even half an hour after the post went live, the 4 sisters, who hadn't been back to the mansion in ages, all showed up. The 3rd sister, Catherine, walked up to me, putting on the same gentle, coaxing demeanor she used when we were kids. Tony, you've let off your steam. Now be a good boy and delete the post, okay? She reached out to fix my messy hair, but I slapped her hand away. I looked at the 5 of them standing before me, each now famous and successful in their own right. I wondered if they had forgotten where all of it came from. I didn't mind reminding them. A sneer played on my lips. So now you remember to come find me. When I was being branded a plagiarist, where were all of you? You were all defending Tim Ripley. You must have forgotten that Grandpa raised you hoping you would protect me. But not only did you fail to protect me, you repeatedly hurt me for an outsider. And you think I'm going to delete the post? At the mention of our grandfather, all 4 of them paled. Letty spoke first. Tony, didn't you always hate that Tim was around? Are you afraid he'll steal us away? Fine. We'll marry you now. How about that? Hearing her condescending, charitable words, I scoffed. No need. I have no desire to marry any of you anymore. They seemed genuinely shocked by my blunt refusal. Their faces grew uglier, as if they were angry. They had deigned to compromise and placate me, yet I was still being so arrogant and unforgiving. Catherine rubbed her temples and try again. Just be good. We know you want to marry the 4 of us. Just pick one. Whoever you want will agree, as long as you delete the post. Miranda stepped in front of me, her voice soft. As long as you delete the post, we will hold a wedding with you next week. I coldly refused. Not necessary. I'd already have a husband. Steve Rogers. I had never told them about Steve's feelings for me before. His 88 secret confessions of love. I had always assumed my future was with one of the 4 of them. They exchanged glances, disbelief clear in their eyes. Letty laughed contemptuously. The Rogers family is a famous military dynasty. They value discipline and order above all else. No offense, but they want a humble gentleman, not an arrogant, rebellious hare like you. If you really can't choose, the 4 of us can all marry you. I glanced around. The other 3 silently nodded in agreement with Letty. I couldn't believe it. To save Tim Ripley's reputation, they were willing to stoop this low. I had reused my graduation design from my previous life not to forgive Tim Ripley, but to use his own tactics against him. I was about to refuse again when Tim Ripley himself burst into the room, fell to his knees, and started begging me. Tony, I swear I didn't know it was your graduation design. I just happened to see the draft at Lay's place and felt inspired, so I referenced it. Please, forgive me this one time. I came from nothing, from the mountains. It's been so hard for me to get to where I am today. If my reputation is ruined, my life is over. I have no one back home. If I go back, my parents will force me to marry a 70-year-old whale. Watching Tim Ripley sob and beg, anyone would have felt pity. But I just kept my cold gaze fixed on the 4 sisters. Letty was the first to crack. She strode over, helped him up from the floor, and shot me a glare. Before leaving, she told him, "Don't you worry. If your reputation is ruined, I'll support you for the rest of your life." I completely ignored Letty's declaration. Beside her, Miranda looked at me coolly. "You've really been spoiled rotten, haven't you?" I laughed in disdain. "I'm the grandson of the richest man in the city, the sole heir to the Stark family. It's normal for me to be a little spoiled. Or do you dislike me because you pity Tim Ripley's orphan status?" The word orphan struck a nerve. All 4 of them had been adopted from an orphanage. Miranda's usually cool and composed face cracked with anger. She turned and stormed out. Ellie shook her head. "You've disappointed me so much." Catherine's usual playful smile vanished. "You've changed so much I don't even recognize you," she said coldly. They left one by one. I watched their retreating backs and laughed at myself mockingly. "Is that so? But I'm the one who lived a miserable life. Because of you. The one who should be disappointed is me, isn't it? Now, just for speaking a few truths, they show their true colors. How laughable. I didn't want to bother with them anymore. My wedding to Steph was approaching. I needed to choose a thoughtful gift for him. A necklace, a ring, earrings, or maybe a tie clip. I spent the whole day comparing high-end brands from morning until night, before I finally found the perfect one. Just as I was about to check out, I received a taunting message from Tom Ripley. Tony Stark. So what if you didn't delete the posts? To make it up to me, the 4 of them are going to marry me on New Year's Eve. Attached was a wedding invitation. 1 groom, 4 brides. I casually opened my social media. Sure enough, Tom Ripley had posted the wedding invitation there as well. I sneered, tapped the like button, and then blocked him. Just as I was about to turn off my phone, a call came from Letty. Her voice was smug, as if she'd been waiting for this moment. Tony Stark, have you learned your lesson yet? As long as you apologize to Tom, we'll cancel the wedding. I let out a cold laugh. What do I have to apologize for? Since you all have accepted Tom Ripley and can't stand an arrogant hare like me, I have no desire to force my way into your circle. The moment I finished speaking, I could hear the angry voices of the other 3 sisters on the other end. Letty, furious, left me with one final sentence before hanging up. You better not regret this. I won't regret it. I've just barely escaped the tragedy of my past life. I just want to stay as far away from the 4 of them as possible. I turned off my phone, and had the best night's sleep I'd had in a long time. The next morning, I was woken by a call from my grandfather. He saw everything online. I can't believe I spent all those years raising 4 ungrateful dogs. I've already given the order to revoke all of their special privileges. I could feel his rage even through the phone. I was worried he'd make himself sick. Grandpa, don't be angry, I said softly, trying to calm him. I don't like them anymore. Besides, I have Steph now. Didn't you say he would be by my side from now on? My grandfather's tone softened. Your wedding to Steph Rohers is set for next week, on New Year's Eve. Use this time to prepare yourself. After hanging up, I got a message from the real estate agent. Mr. Stark, the mansion has been sold for a premium price. The new owner will take possession on New Year's Eve. A small smile touched my lips as I got out of bed. That way, after I leave, the 5 of them won't be able to continue disgusting me in my own home. I went downstairs and instructed the staff to gather everything related to the 4 sisters. We piled it all in the yard and set it on fire. Then I called for an excavator to come and dig up all the crabapple trees in the garden. Those trees had been planted when I was 10, the first day my sisters came to live with us. They had witnessed so many years of our affection, but now they were just an eyesore. I wanted to uproot them, just as I wanted to uproot the 4 of them from my heart. By the time it was all done, the mansion felt empty and completely new. I was just about to rest when I heard Letty's questioning voice from the doorway. Where are the crabapple trees? Why have they all been dug up? I turned to see her walking towards me, her eyes scanning the empty yard. I thought she would explode with anger, but instead she said, "Good thing. Tom doesn't like crabapples anyway. We'll plant pure white lilies instead. He loves those." I pulled at the corner of my mouth, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "From now on you and Tom Ripley are a family. Plant whatever you want." Letty froze, clearly not expecting me to say that. Her expression was a little complicated. Then she added, a bit stiffly, "It's good that you finally come to your senses." Just as she finished speaking, my phone rang. It was the wedding planner Steph had arranged. "Mr. Stark, for the ceremony next week, the venue and layout plans have been sent to your email. Please review them and let us know if you require any changes." I didn't even open the email. I replied directly, "Whatever you've arranged is fine." My voice was loud enough for Letty to overhear. She smirked, a knowing look on her face. "You're not doing this because you found out we're marrying Tom next week, are you? Planning your own wedding on the same day? Are you planning to crash the ceremony and steal the brides? Tony Stark, you made a mistake, and you have to face the consequences. It's too late for regrets now. We promised him a wedding unlike any other, and the 4 of us won't be stolen away by you." I looked at her, my expression perfectly calm, and smiled. "I know you all love Tom Ripley. Don't worry, I won't crash your wedding. I won't be marrying any of the 4 of you. I have my own husband." But Letty obviously didn't believe me. She pulled her phone out and started a video call with the other sisters. "Can you guys believe it? Tony is deliberately holding his wedding next week too, trying to pull us away from Tom." She aimed the camera at me, forcing me into their video frame. The other 3 sisters had all stopped what they were doing, and were now with Tom Ripley. Miranda glanced at me, her brow furrowed slightly. "The decision we've made will not change." Ellie's smile had turned to ice. "Don't waste your energy." Catherine tilted her head, and continued to comfort Tom. "Don't worry, Tom. None of us will be stolen away by him. Every word was a carefully chosen dagger, meant to wound me. But I just kept smiling. You can all rest assured. I have my own wedding to attend. It absolutely will not be crashing yours. With that, I ended the video call. I really couldn't stand looking at their faces any longer. Lei put her phone away. Seeing that her words had no effect, she didn't linger, just gave me one last warning look. We will have to leave for the wedding from this mansion. Don't cause trouble, she warned. I didn't answer. The wedding is the same day this house is handed over to its new owner. You can take it up with them. In the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve, the day of my wedding, and the day of Tom Ripley's. Early that morning, I came downstairs with my luggage and ran right into Tom, dressed in a custom-tailored, high-end suit. The fit was perfect, the buttons were diamond-studded, and the whole look was one of elegant sophistication. It was my graduation design. Tom glanced at me, dressed in simple slacks and a shirt, and smirked. Aren't you getting married today, too? Why no fancy suit? Don't think you can just grab your luggage, pretend to run away from home, and win the four of them back. Let me tell you, it's impossible. This wedding will be live-streamed. I will be their one and only handsome groom. I couldn't be bothered to respond, just offer a cold, well, I wish you happiness. I hope the five of you are locked together for life and never come to bother me again. I dragged my suitcase out into the yard and looked up to see my four adoptive sisters, all in their wedding gowns. Miranda was in a simple white mermaid dress, her beautiful face exuding a cold elegance. Ellie wore a pink, strapless ball gown, her hair styled like a princess, the very picture of a graceful debutante. Catherine's silk gown was exquisitely crafted, with a plunging neckline that hinted at her voluptuous figure. Letty wore a custom-made, long-trained gown that showcased her defiant, untamable spirit. They all froze when they saw my luggage. They exchanged glances, a flash of panic in their eyes. Where are you going? They demanded in unison. Catherine stepped forward to grab my hand, but I dodged her. To my wedding, I said calmly. The four of them, who had been worried just a moment before, visibly relaxed at my words, as if they were certain I was just playing hard to get. Miranda took a few steps closer, her brow furrowed. As long as you stop targeting Tim and live peacefully with him, we will honor our promise to Grandpa, marry you, and register the marriage with you. The others chimed in. As long as you accept him, we'll be the happiest family. It's New Year's Eve. If you're truly sorry, stay home and prepare the New Year's dinner. After our wedding, we can all celebrate the new year together. It kept smiling. I have made myself very clear. I'm getting married today, too. From this day on, my holidays will have nothing to do with any of you. Ignoring their darkening faces, I walked directly towards the large lawn outside the mansion. Seeing that their persuasion was useless, they stopped trying and turned their attention to tenderly escorting Tom Ripley to the wedding car. Just then, a series of thunderous roars filled the air. Dozens of helicopters, each bearing the Rogers family crest, descended onto the lawn. Before everyone's stunned eyes, 2 rows of soldiers in the highest class dress uniforms marched in formation and stood before me. They saluted and announced in unison, by order of Ms. Steve Rogers, we are here to escort the groom, Mr. Tony Stark, to the wedding ceremony. The sight of the helicopters, the lawn, and the soldiers left everyone speechless. As the helicopter I boarded rose higher and higher, the panic on their faces below became clearly visible. Tom Ripley, ever the actor, quickly stepped in front of the 4 women, his voice laced with his familiar, pitiful tone. Miranda, Ellie, Catherine, Letty, I can't believe Tony would go to such lengths to steal you from me. I've never heard of a wedding where the bride doesn't even show up. He must have spent a fortune hiring actors. The 4 of them, who had been about to rush after me, hesitated at Tom's words. Still, a sliver of doubt remained. After all, the Rogers family was not one to be trifled with. Even a nobody like me knows you don't mess with the Rogers family, Tom continued, sensing their hesitation. Tony deliberately hired people to put on this show. When he inevitably offends the Rogers, he'll have the Stark family to back him up. But what about me? He just wants to ruin our wedding and make me the laughingstock of New York, leaving me with nothing and no way to survive here. He wants to destroy me. His words dispelled their remaining doubts. They all frowned. Letty adjusted her wedding dress, her anger flaring. We were almost fooled by Tony Stark. How could he be so malicious? Seeing that his words had hit their mark, Tom lowered his head, a look of utter dejection on his face. Besides you 4, I have nothing. Not like Tony. He's a rich heir, he'll always be provided for, he can do whatever he wants. But every step is a struggle for me. If I lose you, I don't know how I'll go on. He started to cry, his face contorted in pain. The four of them were overcome with pity and rushed to comfort him. Catherine threw her arms around him. "Don't worry, we won't leave you. Don't be sad, you won't look good in the photos." Ellie pulled out a silk handkerchief. "We promise you a special wedding. And we won't break our promise." Letty quickly added, "That's right. Today is our wedding day. You're the most handsome groom, our treasure. We love you more than anything. How could we ever leave you?" Even the usually stoic Miranda nodded in reassurance. "Don't worry. We won't abandon the most handsome groom." The wedding was back on. They helped him into the wedding car, cooing and comforting him. He finally managed to smile, though his voice was still laced with a hint of grievance. "It's so good to have you." Seeing him smile, they all relaxed. Of course, Letty said, "Today, you'll be the most envied man in all of New York." 4 New York princesses marrying one man was indeed a spectacle, especially when that man had just been embroiled in a plagiarism scandal. The wedding drew countless online viewers, the live stream chat flooding with comments. "I'm telling you, this poor kid's got some serious game to have all 4 of them wrapped around his finger. Hey, if Tony Stark is the real heir, then what does that make these 4 princesses? Whatever they are, they're blind for dumping a great guy like Tony Stark for a plagiarizing charity case." Inside the car, Tim, who had expected a flood of admiration, saw that 9 out of 10 comments were insults. His face darkened. Catherine, sitting beside him, noticed and covered his eyes. "Don't look at the negative comments. Today, you're supposed to be the happiest groom." Miranda gestured for the staff to turn off the live stream feed on the car's large screen. But just before it went dark, one comment caught their eye. "I don't think he hired actors. Those Rogers family helicopters. The soldiers were wearing the highest level dress uniforms. They wouldn't help someone fake a wedding." Catherine's face immediately fell. She remembered the awe-inspiring scene. "By order of Ms. Steve Rogers, we are here to escort the groom, Mr. Tony Stark, to the wedding ceremony." She and the other 3 exchanged glances. They had all seen the comment. They had said they didn't believe me, but a seed of doubt had been planted. For a moment, the car was silent. Lately, I had been so distant. In the past, whenever I upset them, I would have been the one to apologize, to do anything to win back their favor. I would have shed my pride, my arrogance, just to get their attention again. But this past month, my behavior had been completely different. Not only did I not apologize, I didn't even contact them. The more Letty thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. "Miranda," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "those helicopters. They weren't real, were they?" Before she could finish, Tim interrupted. He hadn't seen the comment. "What about the helicopters?" Letty quickly waved her hand. "Nothing, Tom. You woke up so early today, you must be tired. Just rest in the car. The wedding will be busy later." But Tim could tell from her expression that she was hiding something. No matter what, the wedding had to happen today. He couldn't let them go find me. "Actually," he said tentatively, "last night, I overheard Tony on the phone with his grandfather. The helicopters. Tony asked his grandfather to arrange them. He threatened me not to tell you, or he'd kick me out of the mansion." Letty was the first to react. "I knew it. The Rogers are a military family. Why would they get involved in his nonsense?" It was his grandfather. Still as arrogant as ever. "It's all just a game to make us abandon Tom and go crawling back to him. Tom, you just wait. When he comes to us, begging for forgiveness, we'll decide whether we'll let him live with us." The others were also convinced that my grandfather was behind the helicopters. The anxiety in their hearts subsided, and they spent the rest of the journey doting on Tom Ripley. Meanwhile, at the pinnacle ballroom of the Summit Villa, a crystal fountain in the center flowed gently, accompanied by a melodious symphony. A red carpet stretched from the entrance deep into the banquet hall, flanked by a sea of vibrant flowers, like a scene from a fairy tale. The helicopter landed right in the middle of the red carpet. I suddenly felt a pang of nervousness. Before, when my heart was filled with only my 4 sisters, I had paid no mind to Steve's secret confessions. Now, meeting him, I felt a strange sense of coming home. In the days I hadn't seen him, I had often heard the elders praise him as the most outstanding of his generation. Even my grandfather, when he mentioned Steve, was full of compliments. I took out the tie clip I had chosen for him, checked my reflection one last time to make sure everything was perfect, and then stepped out of the helicopter. 2 hours later, the 4 sisters, and Tom Ripley also arrived at the Summit Villa. The helicopters parked on the open ground were a striking sight. They saw me as soon as they got out of the car. A sneer twisted Letty's lips. "Tony Stark is really determined to ruin our wedding." The other 3 were also convinced that my appearance at the Summit Villa was part of a plan. That I had threatened them with marrying someone else, but in reality, I couldn't let them go. It was all a game to make them cancel their wedding with Tom. John clutched the lapels of his suit. Miranda, Ellie, Catherine, Letty, is Tony planning to crash the wedding? What if he ruins our ceremony? What kind of tricks will he use? I'm so scared. What if I can't marry you? His words made their expressions change. Letty spoke first. Don't worry. Even if the sky falls today, we will still marry you. Ellie, who had been silent, also offered a gentle reassurance. We promise you the most special wedding. We'll keep our word. Nothing will affect it. Catherine lightly tapped Tim's nose and winked. How could we let the most handsome groom be disappointed? Miranda, calm and composed as ever, said, Don't worry. All the wedding arrangements are in place. I'll have people keep an eye on things. There will be no surprises. Their reassurances were like a tranquilizer for Tom. He couldn't help but feel a surge of triumph. Their wedding was in the grand ballroom, right next to my Pinnacle Ballroom. Both were luxurious, but the Pinnacle Ballroom was a clear step above. Its centerpiece was a diamond fountain, something the grand ballroom lacked. Tom's eyes darkened. Why can't my wedding be in the best ballroom? He tugged at Catherine's sleeve. Catherine, that fountain is so beautiful. Can't we have our wedding in the Pinnacle Ballroom? Catherine was also a little confused. Miranda had arranged the venue. It should have been the best. Miranda, Tom wants to move to the Pinnacle Ballroom. Can we negotiate? Miranda frowned. When I contacted them, the manager of the villa said the Pinnacle Ballroom is not open to the public. Letty, always impatient, grabbed a nearby staff member. Can we switch to the Pinnacle Ballroom? We'll pay whatever it costs. The staff member, startled, quickly recovered. I'm sorry, miss, we can't do that. The Pinnacle Ballroom is not open to the public. Letty glanced at the helicopters outside, guessing that I had booked the entire venue. Don't give me that not open to the public nonsense. Isn't it booked by an outsider right now? Your boss will pay 10 times the price. This wedding will be in the Pinnacle Ballroom. Without waiting for a response, Letty pulled him towards the entrance of the Pinnacle Ballroom. But as he was about to step inside, a security guard blocked their way. I'm sorry, miss, you don't have an invitation. You can't enter. Letty was furious. Do you have any idea who I am? One phone call, and the person inside will be begging me to come in. Just then, I emerged from the dressing room. This is my wedding venue. Not just any stray cat or dog can come in. After getting off the helicopter, I had been escorted to the dressing room. I was now wearing a high-end suit, a crisp shirt, and tailored trousers. The top button was fastened, but I couldn't hide the noble aura of a medieval prince. Seeing me, Letty forgot her anger, a dark look crossing her face. The other three, who had followed, also froze for a moment. They stared at me, their deep gazes filled with a burning, unconcealed desire. Catherine took a few steps forward, intending to grab me, but a security guard stepped in her way. She stared at me, her throat moving slightly, her voice laced with a hint of a coquettish plea. Tommy, don't be angry anymore. We're just having a ceremony with Tom. We're not registering the marriage. Let Tom have this ballroom today, and we'll drop the whole plagiarism issue. Ellie also stepped forward, her eyes softer than before. That's right. Just let Tom have the ballroom, and we'll pretend none of this ever happened. We can still be a happy family. Miranda's usually cold eyes now held a flicker of desire, a fact she herself didn't seem to realize. You've been angry long enough, she said, her voice a little hoarse. Be good and go home. After our ceremony with Tom, we'll come home and keep you company. I looked at them, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. They still hadn't taken my words seriously, still thought I was just throwing a tantrum. But I didn't care anymore. I told you, I'm here to get married. This is my wedding venue. Why should I give it up? As soon as the words left my mouth, Tom asked, a look of confusion on his face, Tommy, you said you're here to get married. Where's the bride? Can you get married by yourself? Or are you still planning to crash the wedding? I had truly had enough of his act. I told you, I have a husband. The 5 of you can do whatever you want. Just don't bother me. I don't want my husband to get the wrong idea. Tom looked left and right. You keep talking about him, Tommy, but where is he? The 4 sisters also looked around. There was no bride in sight. They were now certain I was just causing trouble. Miranda glanced at her watch. Tony Stark, stop this nonsense. Our wedding with Tom is about to begin. Give us the Pinnacle Ballroom, and I'll have someone take you back to the mansion. Hearing that the auspicious time was approaching, Ellie's gentle voice also became urgent. Playing the same trick over and over again gets boring. Who's playing tricks with you? A shot back. I told you. I have a husband. My husband is Steph Rogers. With that, I ordered the security guards to start removing them. None of you are allowed in this ballroom today. Throw them out. Yes, young master, the guards replied, and started to move. Lei was seething. The Rogers family is a military dynasty. Why would they be interested in someone like you? Stop wasting our time and get out of here. Just as she finished, a cold voice came from behind her. I think the ones who should get out are you. Steph Rogers strode down from a car, a woman with strikingly beautiful features, a cold and reserved demeanor. She wore a delicate, multi-layered tulle wedding gown, embroidered with exquisite roses that highlighted her slender neck. Her snow-white skin was faintly visible beneath the veil, like an angel descended to earth. A vintage tiara adorned her head, making her look both noble and elegant. She walked past the four sisters into Riblate and stood right in front of me. Steph looked at me gently. I'm sorry I am late. I had an urgent matter to attend to. I looked up and saw beads of sweat on his forehead. He had clearly rushed here. I instinctively reached out to wipe them away, but Letty interrupted. Who is this actor you hired? We don't have time to waste with you. Give the ballroom to Tim. Our happy day is about to begin. Because of his military background, Steph rarely made public appearances. There were no photos of him in magazines or on the news. Plus, his previous confessions had all been in secret. It was normal that they didn't recognize him. Tim, seeing that I was still delaying them, started his pitiful act again. Tony Stark, I know you're jealous that the sisters are marrying me. They're just helping me. They don't want me to be looked down on, so they're all marrying me at once. Now everyone knows about it. If you keep stopping the wedding, I'll be a laughing stock. I'll have no place in New York. I'll have to go back to my village. Then I'll never escape the mountains. He finished with a look of utter despair. The four sisters were filled with pity. I was done coddling him. The reason you can't make it is because you plagiarized my graduation project. You brought this on yourself. It has nothing to do with me. Stop playing the victim. At my words, Letty clenched her fists and glared at me. Tony Stark, that's enough. Tim already apologized to you. He just saw your work on my computer and wanted to borrow some inspiration. He didn't mean to plagiarize. Why can't you just let it go? Who are you putting on this righteous act for? A cold smile touched my lips. A righteous act. If he was truly sorry, he wouldn't be wearing the suit I designed, knowing full well that he plagiarized it. Letty was speechless. Miranda frowned, her voice a few shades sharper than usual. Enough. This ends here. She turned to look at Steph, who was standing beside me in her wedding dress. She looked him up and down. Years of experience in the business world told her that the woman before her was no mere actor. After a moment of silence, she said to me, we've really spoiled you rotten all these years. After our wedding with Tim, we'll have to teach you some manners. Ellie, who had been silent, also spoke up. As long as you let us and Tim finish the wedding now, we'll forget everything that just happened. All you have to do is admit you were wrong. Steph stepped in front of me, his expression stern, his voice carrying an air of authority. My man is not for you to discipline. At Steph's words, the women opposite him all turned cold, especially Catherine. She looked at me standing behind Steph, an inexplicable anger flaring up inside her. Her smile vanished, and she sized up Steph, her voice dripping with sarcasm. What entertainment company are you signed with? You've got real Oscar winning potential. Do you even know who Steph Rogers is? How dare you impersonate him? Steph glanced back at me as if to ask, are these sisters of yours always this incapable of understanding human language? I nodded. Letty, seeing our silent exchange, was furious. Tony Stark, don't take this too far. You know the Rogers family's background. When they find out, Miranda will be the one cleaning up your mess. Now give us the ballroom. We have a wedding with Tim to attend. Steph rubbed his temples and then gestured to the bodyguards who had accompanied him. Since they don't understand words, we'll just have to teach them a lesson. Escort all 5 of them off the property. And from now on, they are banned from all establishments owned by the Rogers Group. Only then did everyone notice the other bodyguards, who were clearly not the villa security. They were muscular, and their demeanor screamed military. Leigh was about to say something else, but Miranda cut her off with a sharp, quiet. She looked up at Steph, whose deep gaze and powerful aura told her that the woman before her could very well be the real Steph Rogers. Before the bodyguards could act, Miranda took a step back. We don't need this ballroom. We'll go back to the other one. Then, addressing Steph directly, she said, whoever you are, you know the Donovan family standing in New York. We've always had a good business relationship. There's no need to make things ugly. Miranda was indeed a seasoned businesswoman. But Steph was unimpressed. He raised an eyebrow, his voice cold. If I recall correctly, you are all just children that Mr. Stark adopted. You are not his true heirs. Without the Stark family, you are nothing. If he knew you were bullying his own grandson like this, he would have thrown you out long ago. Now, while I still have some patience, get out of here on your own. You are not welcome. Stev's words hit them where it hurt, but they didn't leave. Their fists were clenched, but they were no longer as confrontational as before. They could all feel the oppressive aura radiating from Stev. Plus, with Miranda's earlier outburst, they just stared at Stev, speechless. Miranda, usually so composed, was now visibly angry, as if her deepest insecurity had been exposed. We can go, she said coldly, but we're taking Tommy with us. We are his fiances. We can't let him be with another woman. Stev's brow furrowed, a sharp glint in his eyes. His entire being radiated the authority of a superior. Miranda met his gaze, her own eyes flashing with cold light. Neither of them backed down. Who gave you the confidence to think you are Tony's fiances? Stev's voice was like ice. Today is my and Tony's wedding. From now on, he is my man, Stev Roder's man. He has nothing to do with any of you. With that, Stev gestured for his men to remove the 5 eyesores. Seeing his new husband witness her ruthless side, Stev Rogers felt a flicker of anxiety. She turned and looked up at me, her voice much softer when she spoke. Tony, are you scared of this side of me? She was born into the great Rogers family. To hold her own, she naturally had to be tough. He just never wanted me to see that part of her. I looked back at her, my eyes filled with sincerity. In fact, I should be thanking you. You solved a huge problem for me. Hearing my words, Stev finally relaxed. She had heard stories about my situation with the Donovan sisters, and knew that one of them was originally supposed to be my fiance. She had always assumed they treated me well. Seeing it with her own eyes today, she finally understood how much I had suffered. Stev's gaze was so gentle that it made me a little shy. She took a small, sweet pastry from her pocket and placed it in my hand. You must be hungry after waiting so long. Eat something. I was enveloped in her tenderness, feeling almost giddy. I instinctively unwrapped the pastry and took a bite. It was soft with a delicate sweetness that wasn't overpowering. It was delicious. Halfway through eating, I remembered the gift I had prepared. I took the tie clip from my pocket. I couldn't bring myself to look her in the eyes as I handed it to her. This is a welcome gift I picked out for you. I know it's not the first time we've met, but I still wanted to give you something. I spent a long time choosing it. I hope you like it. Stev accepted it, a smile crinkling the corners of her eyes. I love it, she said softly. As long as it's from you, I'll love it. She never imagined her husband would be so handsome and pure-hearted. For a moment, she wanted to throw her arms around me, but she held back, afraid of scaring me. From the first time she met me, she knew she had to marry me. But family obligations kept her away, and she had missed out on so many years with me. Stev made a silent vow. From now on, she would be doubly good to me to make up for all the lost time. Because of my grandfather's poor health, I didn't want him leaving the hospital for the wedding. Stev, sensing my stress, invited only a few close family elders. The ceremony was simple. Afterward, I went with her back to her home on the military base. Stev had decorated the bridal suite beautifully. She had even prepared a new set of slippers, a toothbrush, and towels for me. The environment on the base was, admittedly, a step down from the mansion. I thought about letting you stay in the city penthouse, Stev said, looking at me, that the Rogers family dynamics are complicated. I didn't want you to face all of that alone, so I thought it would be better to bring you with me. The conditions here are a bit simpler, but I can guarantee that no one will ever bother you again. Here, you can do whatever you love in peace. She smiled gently. You must be tired today. Let's wash up and get some rest. My face instantly grew warm. Are we sleeping in the same bed later? Under the dim light, Stev took a step closer, closing the distance between us. She stood on her tiptoes, her warm breath tickling my ear. Tony, do you want to sleep in the same bed, or in separate rooms? This playful, seductive version of her was completely different from the serious woman I'd seen during the day. I was enveloped in her clean, crisp scent, my mind going blank. Before I could answer, she took a step back. The house they assigned me has 2 bedrooms. You can take the master bedroom. I'll sleep in the spare room. We were married, so sleeping together was natural. But we had only just begun to connect and weren't truly intimate yet. I wasn't ready. Stev clearly saw my tension and didn't push it. Meanwhile, back at the mansion in New York, the Donovans and Tim rapidly returned to find the gate locked tight. No matter how many times they entered the old code, it wouldn't open. Miranda immediately called her assistant. Send someone to check the gate lock at the mansion. There was a moment of silence on the other end before the assistant replied, Ms. Donovan, that mansion is listed for sale on the secondary market. I am sending you the listing now. Miranda's face darkened. She opened the link. It was indeed the mansion they were standing in front of. Ellie noticed something was wrong. Miranda, what is it? Tony listed the house for sale, Miranda said, her brow furrowed. The news hit all of them like a ton of bricks. From the mysterious woman at the wedding to the mansion being sold, they suddenly realized this wasn't a joke. I was really, truly leaving them. They looked at each other, panic and dread in their eyes. They had never imagined I would actually leave. They had hinted at their feelings for me in the past, and I had been so flustered and happy. I had wanted to marry them, but could never choose just one. They had even made a pact that no matter who I chose, it wouldn't affect their sisterly bond. But now I had bypassed them completely and chosen someone else. All this time I'd been saying I had a husband. Was it all true? Had I decided to leave them a month ago? Letty finally processed it. Tony really left us to marry someone else. Miranda was that woman today, really, Steve Rogers. After returning from the villa, Miranda had already asked someone to review the live stream footage. The military precision, the helicopters, the sheer audacity of treating them with such disrespect. With no fear of reprisal, only the Rogers family could pull that off. The woman could only have been Steve Rogers. Miranda gave a silent, grim nod. The faces of the other three turned ashen. If it were anyone else, they were confident they could win me back. But if it was Steve Rogers, the situation became infinitely more complicated. They all felt a suffocating weight in their chests. Tom Ripley, however, felt a surge of relief. If Tony was really married, then no one would be competing with him for the sisters. The wedding was a bust, but the five of them would still be living under one roof. He was sure he could cultivate a relationship with them. Eventually, he would marry one of them and establish himself in New York. The thought made him secretly ecstatic, but he put on a look of disappointment. Tony knew we all grew up together in this mansion. Why would he sell it? His words only made the sisters' expressions darken further. I hadn't just left them, I had thrown away all the years of memories and affection. Regardless, the most important thing now was to keep the mansion. Even if the person was gone, the place had to remain, a vessel for their memories. Miranda immediately called her assistant. Buy that mansion. No. The assistant hesitated. There aren't enough funds in the account. Miranda frowned. What do you mean? Not enough. The company is fine, the assistant stammered, but your access to corporate funds has been revoked. Mr. Stark canceled your special privileges. Your personal account doesn't have enough to purchase the property. In the dead of night, the words from the phone were jarringly clear. Everyone heard. If Grandpa had intervened, then he knew about my marriage. Their status as his hand-picked finances for me was now completely void. Miranda, I have some savings, Catherine said, stepping forward. See if it's enough when we put it all together. Mine, too, Ellie added. Letty chimed in. All my prize money is saved up. Take it. The mansion, located in a prime area of New York, was worth tens of millions of dollars. The four of them, who had never worried about money, were now pooling their funds just to buy back their home. For a long moment, they were all silent. Tom, hearing this, paled slightly. But then he remembered, Miranda was a top financier, Ellie a brilliant surgeon, Catherine an Oscar-winning actress, and Letty a world-class race car driver. Even without the Stark family's backing, they were incredibly successful. Besides, he had grown accustomed to living in the mansion. Other houses were too small and old for his taste. I have a little, too, he offered meekly. How much could you possibly have? Letty snapped. Seeing his crestfallen expression, she quickly backtracked. I just mean, this has nothing to do with you. You don't need to contribute. Her words, meant to be comforting, only made him feel worse. But none of them were paying attention to him now. Tom felt a sting of resentment. Before, the slightest hint of his unhappiness would have them all fawning over him. Now, with me gone, everything had changed. Miranda gathered their funds and instructed her assistant to purchase the mansion. After hanging up, she told them, I have some stocks and investments. When they mature, I'll pay you all back. As the eldest, she couldn't let her sisters suffer. Miranda, we have enough to live on, Ellie said, pushing up her glasses. Don't rush to sell your investments. We'll just consider it money we've deposited with you. If we ever really need it, we'll ask. The other two nodded in agreement. The word home made all four of their eyes sting. Grandpa had given them a home. They had lived here with me, sharing countless happy moments. The assistant was fast. In less than 10 minutes, the transaction was complete. He sent them the new gate code. As they walked inside, they all felt a small sense of relief. At least they had saved their memories. They didn't notice them trail behind them and head straight for my old room. It was only then that they saw how empty the mansion was. My room, apart from the furniture, was bare. I had been ruthless. They had to accept the fact that I was gone. They all pulled out their phones to message me, only to be met with the red exclamation mark of a blocked user. Letty felt a gnawing feeling in her chest. How could he do this? Block all of us. Didn't our 15 years of affection mean anything to him? Ellie stared at her chat history with me. The last messages were from a month ago, mostly her telling me I was wrong and demanding I give things to Tim. She suddenly collapsed onto the bed. Were we wrong? Ever since Tim came, we made him give everything to Tim. But those things were his to begin with. Some people you only learn to cherish after they're gone. They all reviewed their chat logs, the weight of their cruelty crashing down on them. I was their little prince, the one they cherished most. How had it come to this? Just then, Tim appeared in the doorway. Catherine, he said timidly. Can you sleep with me tonight? The mansion is so empty I'm a little scared. Catherine looked at him, her eyes devoid of any pity. If you're scared, turn on a light, she said coldly. What are you asking me for? Tom froze. In the past, they would have fought over who got to comfort him. Now, no one even looked up. He felt a profound sense of loss. I'm really scared, he whimpered. Finally, Letty sighed. Fine. I'll sleep in your room. No one slept that night. They were all consumed with one thought: how to find me. The house, which held so many of our memories from the time I was 10 until I graduated from college, now felt unbearably empty and cold without me. I slept soundly. It was the best sleep I had had since being reborn. Steph Rodgers had saved me from those people. For the first time, I didn't have any nightmares. When I woke up, it was nearly noon. At lunch, Steph brought food back for me. The cafeteria food is pretty bland. I figured you wouldn't like it. I had someone bring over some spicy stir-fried chicken and spicy boiled pork. Give it a try. I had smelled the delicious aroma all morning. I've loved spicy food my whole life, and these two dishes were exactly to my taste. Seeing me eat with such gusto, a rare smile appeared on Steph's usually stern face. Slow down. No one's going to steal it from you. He handed me a glass of water. I have the afternoon off. Shall we go visit Grandpa at the Rodgers family nursing home? I nodded eagerly. In my past life, I had been locked up by the Donovans and never got to see my grandfather one last time before he died. It was my deepest regret. Grandpa had been a decorated soldier in his youth, and old wounds often caused him pain, but his health had always been relatively good. In my past life, he died suddenly of a heart attack not long after this. This time, I wanted to get him a thorough checkup to prevent the tragedy. As we left the house, Steph took my hand. His hand was soft, yet holding it sent a pleasant, tingling sensation up my arm and through my heart. We walked slowly beneath a canopy of sycamore trees, the sunlight filtering through the leaves and stretching our shadows long on the ground. Perhaps this was what true peace felt like. They, brother-in-law, a group of new recruits under Steph's command spotted us, and a chorus of greetings rang out. My face flushed, and I could only manage a mumbled hello, instinctively moving closer to Steph. Steph was always so strict with them during training. It was strange to see them so relaxed. The continuous shouts of brother-in-law made me want to disappear, but I could tell Steph was enjoying it. The nursing home wasn't far, but the walk felt long, my heart pounding with anticipation. The moment I saw my grandfather, I rushed to his bedside and threw my arms around him, tears instantly streaming down my face. Grandpa, I miss you so much. Even in his hospital bed, Grandpa had an air of authority, but my choke voice moved him. He patted my back gently. All right, Tony, you're a grown man now. Still clinging to your old grandpa. Steph is watching. I reluctantly let go. Steph immediately stepped up, took my hand, and gently patted Grandpa's. Tony just missed you a lot, Grandpa. Seeing Steph so protective of me, a satisfied smile spread across my grandfather's face. You're with him on the base now, so you can see each other often. If Steph bullies you, just tell me, and I'll set him straight. Steph tilted his head and looked at me, a gentle smile in his eyes. Don't worry, Grandpa. I would never bully Tony. Good, Grandpa nodded repeatedly. He was clearly very pleased with his new grandson-in-law. Remembering my purpose, I asked, Grandpa, have you had any heart trouble lately? He shook his head. My heart's been fine. Just the same old war injuries. No chest pains or anything. Even so, I insisted he get a full cardiac workup. I held the test results in my hand. His heart function was completely normal. A strange feeling crept over me. If his heart was perfectly healthy, then why did he die of a sudden heart attack in my past life? Back at the mansion, a full week had passed. The Donovan sisters had searched frantically for me, but it was as if I had vanished from the face of the earth. The only valuable piece of information they could recall from the past month was my claim that I was marrying Steve Rodgers. In previous years, they had always spent New Year's with me. Now, without me, a gloomy pall hung over the four of them. Tom Ripley tried to lift their spirits by making them dumplings from scratch. But they didn't even glance at them. Ellie couldn't stand the oppressive atmosphere any longer. She suddenly remembered I had been hospitalized for a few days. The high-end patient rooms had security cameras. Maybe she could find a clue there. She grabbed her coat and headed for the door, tossing a single sentence over her shoulder. I'm going to check the security footage from Tawny's hospital room. Tim, who had been feeling dejected after days of being ignored, was once again left in the dust. He grew even more despondent. Miranda, Catherine, Letty made these dumplings by hand. Please, just have a little. In the past, seeing him like this would have sent the three of them rushing to comfort him. Now it just irritated them. Miranda didn't even spare him a glance. I'm going to the hospital to see the footage, too, she said coldly. The others immediately wanted to follow. A wave of panic washed over Tom. He had taunted me at the hospital that day, confessing to the drugging. If they saw that, he was finished. He tried to stop them, but it was useless. They watched the hospital security footage. They saw his arrogant, provocative demeanor. They returned to the mansion furious and ready to confront him. Before they could even begin, he fell to his knees before them. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. You all showed me so much love, and I shouldn't have been so cruel, flaunting it in front of Tony. Do with me what you will. Seeing his arrogant true self in the video, and then looking at this sniveling coward before them now was utterly repulsive. Miranda, always the most rational, ignored his pleas and cut straight to the point. In the video, you said you harmed Tony. Does that mean the drug sent in the lounge that day was really you? No one framed you, did they? Tom never expected her to remember something from so long ago. A cold sweat broke out across his forehead, and his body began to tremble. The expressions on all four sisters' faces changed in unison. The man they had so carefully protected was a venomous snake in sheep's clothing. Lay, the closest to my age and once my staunchest defender before Tom's influence, felt a chill creep into her heart. She couldn't count the number of times he had deliberately slandered me. If it weren't for this video, they might have gone on forever believing I was the one who tried to seduce them that night. Tom was so terrified he collapsed onto the floor, his pleas becoming desperate. I didn't do anything. I was framed. Please, believe me. Tony helped me with my studies. He helped me so much. Why would I ever hurt him? He tried to force tears, but no one was moved. Ellie, who had always been the most gentle with him, now spoke with a hard edge. Miranda, he is no longer fit to work for the group. Fire him. Tom scrambled over, trying to grab the hem of Ellie's pants, but she kicked his hand away. He began banging his head on the floor. Miranda, Ellie, please don't fire me. If I lose this job, I'll have to go back to my village. Alone. The people there, they'll bully me. Please, just have a little mercy. No one was swayed. Letty grabbed him by the chin. I protected you, and this is how you repay us. You're a malicious, cruel person. How many times did you frame Tony? You played us like fools. Did you enjoy it? Did you think you were so clever? You should go back to whatever hole you crawled out of and marry some old hag. I'll drive you there myself tomorrow. At this, Tom completely panicked. Please, don't do this to me. Just don't send me back up to anything. Please don't kick me out, don't call me Letty. I don't have a vicious snake for a brother. Tom kept begging, his words becoming a repetitive, mindless drone. Then, his eyes seemed to glaze over. He was stalling, waiting for an opportunity. Miranda was the first to notice. A sudden heat spread through her body. She tried to stand, but her legs felt weak. Her eyes, for the first time, held a savage fury. She stared at Tom, spitting out each word. You drugged this place. The others slowly realized they were feeling the same burning heat. Catherine tugged at her collar, exposing the top of her chest. Tom Ripley smiled. That's right. I've thought it through. If it can get you pregnant with my child, I'll have a reason to stay. He had been planning this ever since they left for the hospital. He had thought that by living together, one of them would eventually fall for him. But seeing them obsessed with finding Tony, he knew that hope was lost. So this was his final, desperate gambit. You're nothing. Letty shrieked with rage. You think you're worthy of having a child with us? You're not fit to even touch Tony's shoes. Tom laughed even harder. Phone me star. So what? He was just born lucky. If he'd been born in the mountains like me, with every old whiteo in the village eyeing him, he might never have made it out. If I'd had his advantages, I wouldn't be in this position. Have you forgotten? Catherine sneered, her voice becoming sultry under the drug's influence. Who paid for your high school and college tuition? Without Tommy, you'd still be stuck in those mountains. Of all of them, Tom had genuine feelings for Catherine. He took a step towards her, pulling at his shirt. Catherine. Her first instinct was to push him away, but the drug was too strong. A soft moan escaped her lips. His actions were fanning the flames of her desire, her body burning with a heat that was quickly consuming her reason. By the time the sun rose, it was over. From that day on, Tom Ripley became their prisoner. They subjected him to every cruelty they could imagine, chaining his legs with silver shekels so he couldn't escape. 3 months passed. They still had no news of me, but they learned that Grandpa had been discharged from the hospital. They called him, hoping for a chance to see me, to apologize in person. I happened to be right there when he took the call. I shook my head, and he relayed the message. There's no need to see him. He's doing very well. Just live your own lives. Grandpa had hand-picked them from the orphanage and raised them like his own granddaughters. Despite everything, a part of him still cared. I knew a little of what was happening. Grandpa had arranged for Miranda to be transferred to a small backwater subsidiary of the group, where no one treated her with respect. In the business world, people flock to you when you're on top and abandon you when you fall. Catherine, having lost her financial backing, lost most of her resources. The entertainment industry is a fickle beast. I didn't know the details of the other two, but I knew their lives were no longer what they once were. They had touched Grandpa's bottom line. I was his only grandson. He raised them to protect me, and instead, they had helped to destroy me. That was something he would never forgive. I sat down and massaged his legs. Steph took a month's leave. We're going back to our hometown to register our marriage. Grandpa, do you want to come with us? He nodded. Of course, I have to be there. This would be the first official meeting of the two families. He wanted to be there to support me. That night, Steve came home late from training. I was already asleep. He gently got into bed, wrapping his arms around me from behind. The moment he touched my waist, I woke up. Did I wake you? He whispered, his warm breath on my neck. I shook my head and turned to face him. I'm a light sleeper. I just have this feeling that something is going to happen when we go back. In my past life, Grandpa was already gone by this point. Even though he had a clean bill of health this time, I couldn't shake the anxiety. Steph sensed my fear and held me tighter. Don't worry. And here. His voice was a steady, calming presence. I let myself relax in his arms, my worries melting away as I drifted off to sleep. The next morning, we flew back to New York with Grandpa. Our first stop was City Hall. Looking at our marriage license, neither of us could stop smiling. Steph stood on her tiptoes and gave me a soft kiss. 88 proposals, she murmured. I finally married the one I love. Over the past 3 months, our feelings had deepened. Her love for me was fierce and palpable. Can I ask you something? I said, looking up at her. Anything, she replied, pulling me into an embrace. We didn't know each other that well before. Why did you propose 88 times? Weren't you afraid I wasn't the person you thought I was? That I was really just an arrogant, spoiled brat? She didn't answer right away, just looked at me lovingly, and then whispered in my ear, are you sure we never knew each other? The question threw me. Had we? A face like hers, how could I have forgotten it? I've racked my brain. Besides her proposals, I had no memory of her. Are you messing with me? She laughed, and shook her head. All right, you caught me. It was just love at first sight. That answer was even less believable. I started to pull away. If you don't want to tell me, fine. She pulled me back into her arms. The first time we met, she began softly, wasn't exactly a happy memory. I was 10 years old. My parents had just died in an accident. My grandfather aged a decade overnight, and I was in the hospital with a fever that almost killed me. That's when I met you. She explained that she had been diagnosed with a rare illness that caused temporary hearing loss. In her darkest hour, I had appeared. Even though I was sick myself, I came to her room every day and told her stories. When she couldn't hear me, I drew them for her in a little notebook. After she recovered, her family rushed her overseas to study before she could even say goodbye. That little boy was you. As she spoke, the memories came flooding back. My grandfather had been busy with family affairs, and I was alone in the hospital with 2 bodyguards. I didn't understand death, only that my parents were gone. You were my light during that time. After you left, my fever spiked again, and the memories of that time became a blur. That's why I didn't recognize you. Don't be sad, Steph said, gently stroking my cheek. We have to go to dinner. Grandpa will think I am bullying you. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm going to tell him a little girl bullied me when I was 10 and made me draw her comics every day. The family dinner was a joyous affair. Steph's parents pressed thick envelopes of cash into my hands, along with a black card, and the deeds to several properties. Whatever you want, just buy it, her father said. The love in their eyes was genuine. I felt truly cherished. Throughout the meal, they piled food onto my plate until it was a small mountain. I ate it all, not wanting to be rude. Steph, sitting next to me, discreetly helped me with some of it. But by the end of the meal, I felt so full that the sight of meat made me nauseous. Steph, who had also eaten a lot, suddenly felt the same. Her mother's eyes lit up. Steph, that reaction could it be? My face turned bright red. We had been sharing a room, but we hadn't on the other side of the city. The atmosphere at the mansion was a world away. Tom Ripley was tortured daily by the 4 women. He had long since regretted his actions, but no one would forgive him. He had once lived like a prince in this mansion, now he was their plaything. He lay on the floor, weeping. He had fought so hard to escape the mountains, to get into a good university, to win my sympathy, and get into this house. He had carefully driven a wedge between me and my sisters, and he had succeeded. But he didn't understand why, the moment I left, everything had changed. The beautiful dream had shattered. He was just an ugly duckling again. But he wasn't resigned to his fate. Why did I get everything? Why did I get to marry into the most powerful family in New York, just because I was born with a silver spoon? He was just as capable. He wouldn't accept it. He would make one last move. That night, the 4 of them entered his room, reeking of alcohol. They had been searching for me frantically, but without their former power, they were nothing. They took all their frustration out on him. I know I was wrong, he sobbed, kneeling on the floor. I shouldn't have hurt Tony. I shouldn't have had designs on you. Please, forgive me. But they were unmoved. Save the act, Catherine said coldly. We're not falling for it again. Letty sat on top of him, grabbing his chin. You think looking pathetic will make us forgive you? Do you have any idea how much you've ruined us? Suddenly, Tom's demeanor changed. He bit down hard on Letty's hand, drawing blood. She slapped him across the face. You dare bite me. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and looked up at them, his eyes filled with contempt. Deep down, you're no different from me. You only got close to Tony Stark, because you were social climbing. His words hit a nerve. What the hell did you say? Letty screamed, her face red with rage. Not everyone is as greedy as you, Ellie said, her voice laced with acid. The bond we have with Tony is not for you to slander, Miranda added, her voice tight. Their voices were a little too loud, their denials a little too fierce. Tom's words had exposed a secret they kept buried deep inside. When they first came to the mansion from the orphanage, they had tried to win my favor, had catered to my every whim, hoping that if I was happy, they could stay forever. Grandpa had told them he would choose one of them to be my wife, and only the chosen one would get to keep everything. So they doted on me, treated me like their future husband. And as they watched me grow from a boy into a handsome young man, genuine feelings had begun to bloom. They had made a pact not to let it ruin their sisterhood. How could a venomous snake like Tom Ripley ever understand the complexity of their feelings? The man before them was completely unfazed. In fact, he started to laugh, a wild, unrestrained sound. Really? He sneered. Without Tony Stark, would you be where you are today? Dude, just like me, orphans. No one to love you. Just the lowest of the low. Letty slapped him. I'll show you who's low. In the past, Tom would have cowered and begged for mercy. But today, he lunged forward, his eyes locking with hers. Yes, I'm low. But what if you're carrying my child? Then your child would be low, too. The words hung in the air, thick and suffocating. The room fell into a dead silence. The 4 sisters looked at each other, their faces a mixture of horror and disbelief. Finally, Miranda broke the silence. Tomorrow, we're all going to the hospital for a check. You better not have any tricks up your sleeve. Tom had struck a nerve. They were all orphans. They knew what it was like to have no one. If they were pregnant, they would keep the child. It would be the only family they had. This was exactly what Tom had been waiting for. The mansion was a fortress. He had no chance of escape. But a crowded hospital, that was a different story. That night, for the first time in 3 months, Tom Ripley slept. It was not a peaceful sleep. He was plagued by nightmares of the past few months. A living hell of physical and mental torment. He woke before dawn, his only thought to escape this prison. The next morning, The four of them cancelled their plans and took him to the hospital, never letting him out of their sight. He had hoped for a moment alone, a chance to slip away during an examination. But Ellie, being a doctor, accompanied him to every test, giving him no opportunity to run. The hope that had flickered in his eyes died out. Was this his life now? A prisoner, their plaything. Meanwhile, at the Rogers home, I slept until I awoke naturally. Steph was sitting by the bed and gave me a soft kiss on the forehead. Hungry. Let's get something to eat, then we'll go to the hospital. I asked the doctor, you don't need to fast for a pregnancy test. I wrapped my arms around her neck, a blush creeping up my cheeks. But I can't get up, I whispered, my voice husky. Before I could finish, Steph pulled me out of bed. I yelped, grabbing onto her shoulders. Just as we stepped out of the room, we ran into Grandpa, who was just returning from his morning exercises. Tony, you're a grown man. Clinging to your wife like that, he chuckled. I started to let go, embarrassed, but Steph held me tighter. Grandpa, you agreed to let me pursue Tony because you trusted me to protect him. He just woke up. It's only right that I support him. I gave her a playful pinch, but she just continued, have you had breakfast, Grandpa? Do you want to join us? He waved us on, and we headed downstairs. Don't do that in front of Grandpa next time, I chided, though my voice was filled with affection. Steph leaned in close. It's fine. Didn't you see the smile on his face? After breakfast, we went to the hospital. Steph was about to use her special access, but I stopped her. We're not in a rush. Let's just wait in line at the obstetrics department. She smiled. All right, Mr. Husband. We registered and went to wait. And there, sitting on a bench, were the four Donovan sisters and Tim Ripley. Miranda sat rigidly, while the other three hovered around him. Ellie spotted me first. Tony, she cried out, her voice drawing everyone's attention. Miranda shot to her feet, a mixture of joy, hope, and anxiety on her face. Letty rushed towards me, but Steph stepped in her way. Tony, Letty said, her voice soft and sorrowful, where have you been for the past 3 months? Do you know how worried we were? Don't be angry anymore, Tony, Ellie pleaded. We all miss you. Come home with us. Catherine reached for my hand, but Steph slapped it away. She had never been treated like that in her life. Steph Rogers, what right do you have to stop me? The years of affection between us and Tony is something you, an outsider, could never understand. First of all, Steph said, her voice like ice, I am not an outsider. I am Tony's legal husband. Second, you are still entangled with Tim Ripley. What gives you the right to question me? She flicked her hand as if disgusted by the contact. At the mention of Tim's name, they all froze. We were just taking him for a checkup. Steph scoffed. In the obstetrics department. Are you checking for a pregnancy? Her words hit them like a physical blow. Their bravado crumbled. I stood behind Steph, my eyes falling on Tim. He was so thin he was almost unrecognizable, his entire being exuding an aura of despair. I knew that look all too well. It was the same look I had in my past life, when they had imprisoned and tortured me. Were they really here because they missed me? Or did they want to drag me back to be their plaything again? The thought made me sick. I stumbled to a nearby trash can and threw up. Steph immediately rushed to my side. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Tony, what's the matter? The sisters asked, their brows furrowed. While all their attention was on me, Tim Ripley slipped away. After a moment, they felt better. I looked at them coldly. What's wrong with me? What do you care? You're here because one of you is pregnant with Tim Ripley's child. I wonder which one of you is going to marry him. Tony, Catherine said, her voice filled with emotion. It's only ever been you for us. None of us would ever marry Tim. Just then, a nurse called out, the test results for Tim Ripley's wife are ready. She's 8 weeks pregnant. The nurse's words were a slap in the face. But Catherine, a master of deception, recovered quickly. We've been so busy looking for you, we didn't even know he had a girlfriend. She turned to signal for Tim to play along, but he was gone. Where's Tim Ripley? The four of them exchanged murderous glances. But they couldn't unleash their fury in front of me. Tony, Miranda said, finally breaking her silence, we just saw Tim alone in New York and felt sorry for him, so we took care of him a little. Enough, Ismat. I don't need your explanations. From the day I married Steph, we have had nothing to do with each other. My cold, detached gaze made them flinch. 15 years of affection. Catherine whispered, her eyes filled with despair. How can you just throw it all away? I had liked. The moment you chose to protect him Ripley, to hurt me for his sake, our affection ended. Lay, always the most outspoken, was the first to admit her fault. Tony, it was all our fault. We were deceived by Tom. But we see him for who he is now. Please, just give us a chance to make it up to you. Tony, you have feelings for us, Ellie pleaded, her voice soft. You once had fresh milk flown in from New Zealand every day just to treat my hands. Have you forgotten all that? I haven't forgotten, I said, my voice dripping with ice. And I remember very clearly that in my past life, I died at the hands of those very same hands. Even the proud mare and about her head. Tony, just forgive us. We'll do anything. I was so tired of their games. Steph pulled me behind her, her hand in mine. Tony has made it very clear that he doesn't want to be disturbed. You should all remember how you got to where you are today. With a snap of her fingers, a row of uniformed bodyguards appeared and dragged the screaming, struggling women out of the hospital. Tony, are you really this heartless? They cried. You'll regret this. But I had no regrets. Only relief. An hour later, the results were in. Steph stared at the paper, her eyes scanning it over and over. Then, a radiant smile broke across her face. Tommy, she cried, throwing her arms around me, we're having a baby. Just then, her phone rang. It was her mother. Steph, you need to get to the Donovan Group building. Someone is causing trouble, and Tony's grandfather is there. We can't let him get agitated. A sense of dread washed over me. What's wrong? There's a troublemaker at the Donovan Group building. I'll go check it out. You wait here. Grandpa's there, isn't he? She nodded silently. I'm going with you, I said, my voice firm. When we arrived, a crowd had gathered. Tom Ripley was live streaming, a banner behind him that read, New York's 4 princesses and rich-haired Tony Stark bully poor student. He was weeping into the camera, spewing a litany of lies. Tony Stark pretended to help me, but he was just luring me into being a plaything for his 4 sisters. They're not princesses. They're orphans, his child brides. Their private lives are a mess, and they dragged me into it. I worked so hard to escape the mountains, and he tricked me into his mansion, where his 4 sisters tortured me. He held up his arms, showing off fabricated bruises. I stood there, watching this disgusting performance, my fists clenched. Tony, let me handle this, Steph said, putting a comforting hand on my shoulder. But Tom had already spotted me. Look, everyone, there he is, the monster, Tony Stark. The crowd turned, some of them starting to move towards me. Steph kicked one of them away, her face a mask of cold fury. I'd like to see you try. Just then, Grandpa emerged from the building, flanked by a row of security guards who quickly surrounded me. Tom pointed at him. And there's the richest man in New York. He's no better. He's the one who arranged the 4 finances for his grandson. He was so worried his precious grandson wouldn't be satisfied. That's enough, Tom Ripley. I roared. Say what you want about me. But my grandfather is off limits. Tom laughed. Oh, did I make the little hare angry? If 4 women aren't enough to satisfy your grandson, why don't you have a go yourself? At those words, Grandpa clutched his chest. The dread I had been feeling all day reached its peak. In my past life, this is how he died. I didn't care about him anymore. I rushed Grandpa to the hospital. Only when the doctors confirmed he was stable did I breathe a sigh of relief. I knew, with a chilling certainty, that Tom Ripley was behind my grandfather's heart attack in my past life as well. This time, I would not let him get away with it. I logged onto my social media and started posting evidence. The proof of my financial support for Tom. His grateful messages. Everything. He sent me a private message. Don't think this will clear your name, Tony Stark. I'll ruin you all. But I wasn't worried. Tom and the sisters didn't know that on the first day of my new life, I had installed hidden cameras throughout the mansion. I had never used them, but now, it was time. I edited the footage together, Tom framing me, drugging the mansion, seducing the 4 sisters after I left. The video went viral. The internet turned on him in an instant. This is insane. The real-life version of the farmer and the snake. Finally, I called the police. Tom Ripley was convicted of slander. The 4 Donovan sisters were convicted of unlawful imprisonment. What I couldn't do in my past life, I had finally accomplished. All the villains had been punished.